In this episode of Hot Hardware's 2.5 Geeks live stream, 100,000 subscribers and decades of core computing coverage. Next. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, to another fine episode of Hot Hardware's 2.5 Geeks. With me, as always, is my compatriots. It seems like a lifelong friend. I've known you for over 25 years. Marco Chiappetta. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I am fabulous for a Friday. It is trying to get my lighting right currently. So, excuse the button pushing back here, but it's Friday. I've got my party shirt on. This is like my fireworks party shirt on because we have something to celebrate today, don't we there, bud?
Yeah, actually, a really awesome milestone. I'm psyched we got here. I've watched many a channel kind of go over the hump at this milestone, so I'm glad that we did it.
Yeah, man. So 100,000 subscribers to the Hot Hardware YouTube channel, as it were. And wonderful to have you folks with us. We really appreciate the support. Just to give, Marco, we should probably touch base on a little bit of history, I guess, because it's been a long journey. It's been a long, fun ride. It's been a tough grind at times too, right? But wouldn't change it for the world, because we love what we do at the end of the day. I mean, hey, work is work, but we love what we do. We started Hot Hardware as a passion project. I kicked it off as a website back in 1999, and that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And feels like a lifetime, because in internet years, that is more than a lifetime. It's eons. But yeah, we started hothardware.com back in 1999, and you joined me 6 months or a year in thereabouts. a few months in, and I think our YouTube channel kicked off in like 2008, or maybe it was earlier than that.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, you having a senior moment? No.
No, it's really crazy to think about that. I was doing news, as a favor. So quick background on me. I was just
Yeah.
helping folks in a forum on voodoo3.net before 3D Effects launched the Voodoo 3. And
Yeah.
the editor that was running voodoo3.net thanked me for helping those users and said, "Hey, you want to post some news on the site?" And I said, "Sure." So I was just doing that for fun. And that's how Dave and that's how Dave found me. And Dave reached out and said, "Hey, I have, a broader technology site. Do you want to post news here?" I said, "Sure." And that, what, it's funny. We laugh now, but that single decision in my life set my career on a trajectory that I never thought I'd be able to achieve what I have. So I really appreciate it. Not only Dave, but everybody else that's read the site and has helped build a YouTube channel.
Amen. I guess gratitude is probably the overriding feeling here, right? I started back in the industry as a semiconductor sales engineer. Actually answered an ad out of the Boston Globe, got lucky enough to get into the semiconductor industry right out of college, and got into the tech, started nerding out. I think you were probably ahead of me in terms of when you started with computers and computing in general. But, so I started geeking out, started getting into it myself. And then you went full time for us before I went full time and quit the day job. And yeah, man. And it was a leap of faith for me because I had at that point, I had probably close to 20 years in the semiconductor industry. And it was a leap of faith. And it was probably one of the best, I think it was the best business decision I've ever made. Wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, I
Good
think,
times.
for personalities like ours, that the entrepreneurial path is probably best long-term.
Yeah. I don't,
I will
don't know
save the reasons why. I won't talk about the reasons why, but for personalities like ours, I think we made the right choice.
It's funny. I talk to my friends that are still, W-2, working for a company, working for somebody else. And I tell them, I'm not sure I could ever go back to working for the man. When you work for yourself, there is a natural sort of passion, a natural energy that gets you up in the morning. It's your baby, when you work for yourself, you got to keep the baby happy and well fed, and you're just naturally motivated. So it's a beautiful thing. We're fortunate. We appreciate everybody's, as you noted, Marco, we appreciate everybody's support over the years. It's great to get to this milestone. Marco, brother, couldn't have done it without you. And I mean that literally. We've talked about this many times. Man, you and I are like, I don't know if you call it frickin' frack or dynamic duo. Take your pick.
I'll take dynamic duo, and that could not have done it without you either. For those in the industry, you guys know that Dave and I complement each other in various ways. So it was definitely a good team up, and I think we built something great. So I'm happy.
Amen. Amen. And it's funny, you don't see us together at industry events all that often because we intentionally divide and conquer on the air travel requirements, which are extensive in this business. And so you don't always see us together. You'll see us at CES, I think, together this year. We try and hit CES together. So if you're in Las Vegas, grab a hold of us, raise a glass. We'll buy you a beer or something and and celebrate 100K subscribers and over 25 years of tech journalism. Crazy to even say that.
Crazy. And then if you do the math, right, at our current pace, we're posting 10 to 12 news stories a day, 2 to 3 feature articles a week. we're publishing, 3,000 plus articles a year for years. And we really do it, thanks to a great team of guys and just running lean. We get a bunch of folks that love this stuff. And how the heck we pull that off, right? As a virtual corp, we're all kind of spread out across the US. The skill set that guys in our business have put together, it's really wild if you really break it down, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. I mean, and we should mention the guys at Hot Hardware too.
Yes.
Zach, Ben, Paul, Aaron, Alan, Chris. Who am I forgetting?
There's been
so
hundreds
many.
over the years, like literally, and guys that have landed at really big companies. We have former Hot Hardware guys at Intel, at NVIDIA, at AMD, at corporate publications, that have, they've moved on because they wanted, maybe it's a little different setup, but there's literally too many to mention. If just about every prominent writer in the space, all the way back to print magazines to the biggest websites today, at some point wrote for us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing to think, and all the folks that were with us over the years, helping produce content, helping test and benchmark and validate. That is a monumental effort, as some folks may or may not be aware of. And hopefully, independent publishing and the web can survive some of these latest roller coaster rides we're on right now. But we're doing okay. We're having fun with it, and we're still rocking after all these years.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
And, hitting this milestone on YouTube, I think, is going to help as well. So really, really thank you to everybody.
Yeah, that'd be great. Absolutely. Hopefully this is upwards and onwards from here, right, to the next level. World domination, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. All right. Well, let's dig into the headlines real quick. We're going to do a turbo cast today because we've got a lot going on in our business lives and personal lives. There's a ton going on in the tech scene. It seems there's events left and right, more and more events, OCP, all these different events that hadn't existed before are springing up in the growth that is AI. But what do you want to tackle first? We had two big items for the cast today: the ASUS ROG Xbox Ally X, and of course NVIDIA's DGX Spark workstation AI powerhouse. What do you want to hit first?
I think they're both hot, but let's do the Ally first. Let's hit the core gamer audience first.
Dealer's choice. All right, here we go. Let's add it to the stage. The ASUS ROG Xbox Ally X review. Excellent, but evolutionary handheld PC gaming. This was written and tested by good old Zach Killian on our team. Zach does a great job. He is a fan of the handheld gaming scene for sure. And Miriam Joie did a little hands-on video. You can check the YouTube channel for that, by the way. Miriam works with us kind of freelance and does a lot of these hands-on events kind of coverages for us. There she is right there with the machine in hand. But I was going to get down to the specs here because I think that's what's interesting. AMD Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme with Zen 5 and Zen 5C cores. And base clock at 2 gigahertz, boost to 5 gigahertz, integrated Radeon RDNA 3.5 graphics, 16 compute units to be exact, up to 2.9 gigahertz, up to 50 tops on the NPU. It's the XDNA 2, a 1080p LCD screen, 120 hertz, 350 nits, 24 gigs of 128-bit LPDDR5X memory at 8,000 megatransfers per second, soldered on, not upgradable. It's a tiny little handheld, and a terabyte Samsung SSD. Marco, thoughts? I know you actually. I was traveling. I was at Dell Tech Summit when this went up, so you actually went through the edits on this piece. What are your thoughts about this as it relates to the rest of the gaming handheld ecosystem and other Xbox Ally products, I guess?
Yeah, so I think for me personally, if we're in a vacuum, strictly talking, like the best handheld at this moment in time, disregarding a few other factors, it's probably the ROG Xbox Ally X. Not only is it technically the most powerful, with the caveat there, I dig the handles. Like when I played with prototypes before it was launched, Zach wasn't a huge fan of the handles. He likes the more compact form factor of the regular ROG Ally, not the Xbox Ally. But I have big hands. I'm a big guy. It's more comfortable for me to actually have the handles and the grips. Now, the form factor is great. The build quality is great. Technically, the Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme is the fastest SoC in these platforms at the moment. But if you look at the numbers, it's really not all that much faster than the Z1. It's built on the same process. It's the CPU cores are a little faster. The GPU is a little faster. Memory is a little faster, but it's still limited to that 35-watt power budget. There's only so far you're going to push a GPU in a form factor like this. But it's fine, right? Performance is good. Zach is absolutely awesome at reviewing devices like this, because not only does he run a slew of benchmarks on a bunch of other handhelds, but lots of experiential commentary with some more obscure games. Like, Zach's a hardcore gamer, loves a wide variety of games. So I love when he covers devices like this. I learn something every time I edit one of his pieces. But I dig the device. I think if you compare it to everything else on the market at the moment, it's competitive across the board. The only issue I think most folks are going to take issue with is the price. The top end ROG Xbox Ally X, it's $1,000. It's $999. Yeah, so that's kind of pricey for the space.
Yeah. Good call out on that. It is pricey for sure. You can treat this as a PC as well. You can hook up, external monitor, keyboard, what have you to it. It can be a little PC, and of course it plays, your PC games, your Steam library, and also I'm blanking on the Play Everywhere Xbox titles.
Oh yeah. So actually, yeah, that's probably something that we should talk about. This is the first. Where Microsoft's probably going to partner with others, but this is the first non-Microsoft Xbox branded console, right? It's a handheld PC, but it supports Play Anywhere. So it's not going to play all Xbox games. Like, if your older library is not going to run on this, right? It's not fully compatible with all Xbox games, but newer games that have like PC cross save and cross play will work on here. So pretty cool device, right? So you have a full PC, and it's a pretty performant PC. Like, if you look at the Geekbench and like speedometer numbers, it's competitive with some fast little rigs. But you have, anything that Windows can play, and anything that's Play Anywhere compatible for Xbox, right? So pretty cool.
Yeah. We'll add the benchmarks back to the stage here in a second, and look at that graph, Armored Core 6 numbers. But that was one of the caveats I did see, is that the SSD could have been a little snappier. I think it's 3 gigs a second or something like that, roughly read write. But in general, good, general productivity and general compute performance. Where it does excel certainly is gaming. Let me see if I can get that back in. Why is this? Okay, let's add to the stage. There we go. I don't know. Sometimes StreamYard's a little funky like a monkey. I don't know. So Armored Core 6 fires a Rubicon benchmark, 1280 by 800. So that screen native res, I believe. Yes, right.
It's 1080p native res.
1080p native res.
It will upscale.
Yeah. So, you're looking at something like 56 frames a second with 43 FPS mins. That's in the neighborhood of some, I would say, mid-range notebook integrated graphics. So Radeon 780M graphics in this case, as you can see there. But again, this is a handheld. So the thermal envelope is the thermal capacity of the device is significantly less than a notebook. And you were right about, by the way, the games, that some of the game titles that that Zach picks, Asterigo's Curse of the Stars benchmark. It's a DX12 game here at 1920 by 1080. Quality settings, FSR2 quality settings, so FSR on here. And it's the top of the heap. You see the MSI Claw there, the little Lenovo Legion Go, the ROG Ally X with the Z1, the first gen ROG Ally X, excuse me, and the Valve Steam Deck, which is way down the bottom of the list. So, I mean, that's a decisive victory right there. Any other thoughts on gaming performance or just general performance?
Yeah. So actually, two things. One aspect that's been it's tough for Zach to test, but he did a couple of tests where it let him. This device also has a full screen Xbox experience that it will kill background processes and free memory to optimize game performance. And it actually had a significant impact on minimums and on average frame rates in like the couple of tests he was able to run. So he's still digging in to try to figure out how to test this, because you can't use like cap frame X because it kills the process, right? It kills anything non-essential for the game that's running. But it looks promising. Like one of the advantages of the Steam Deck is it's a lot less overhead. The OS it's running a version of Linux and it has less overhead and can sometimes oftentimes outperform an equivalent Windows device like this. So this Xbox full screen experience could sort of level the playing field as much as it can versus a much more compact and less resource heavy Linux OS. So I think that's really interesting. And the other thing that Zach, he has initial battery life data in there. It was going to run for like 30 something hours. So he couldn't finish it, the actual battery test in time for the review, but that should be updated probably today or tomorrow at the latest. And it looks like battery life is going to be really strong for this. So if you're willing to, set a frame rate cap and turn things down quite a bit, you can game for like a few hours, which is great, with one of these little devices.
Yeah. And I mean, Cyberpunk at 1280 by 800 with looks like XeSS turned on in this case. Very interesting that, running that on a Radeon IGP, but yes, you can. It's up there at 80 frames a second and with 63 frames per second mins. That is the quality preset for XeSS. I mean, interesting stuff. What's the battery capacity again? I'm trying to remember.
So surprising. It's like 80 watt hours, like for such a little device, pretty big battery.
Yeah. They must be going to some next generation, battery technology these days. I have to look that up and see what the battery tech is on board this device, because we're getting denser, more capable batteries in smaller footprints these days with, I think it's a silicon anode or something like that. There's some new technologies and batteries these days that are kicking things up a notch, which is great.
Yeah, it's a lithium polymer battery. So
it's a lipo.
What that polymer is, I don't know, but it's not a straight up lithium ion. It's a lithium polymer.
And we should mention to the folks in the chat, thanks for the congratulations, by the way. Always great to get a little oorah from the crowd. Feel free to toss your questions in, folks. We are here to answer them live, and we'll feature them on screen if they're good ones, as long as you're nice. As long as you're nice. By the way, I'm drinking a ginger ale today, but I really should have cracked a beer for this one. What's wrong with me?
I have a beat up Swell bottle with water in it.
Well, hey, we're both healthy. I've got
relatively speaking.
I have a sugar-free, all-natural ginger ale, no artificial sweeteners either. It's got stevia, excuse me. Anyways, anything else before we move on to the DGX Spark from good old NVIDIA?
I think we're good. I think we can move on. Come by the site and check out the full review, though.
Yeah, one more thing we didn't talk about was thermals and noise. Looks like it remains pretty tame. I'm looking at his his CPU tracking, tracking the thermal of the device under load. And it looks like the CPU itself is only like 75C or something like that. So
Yeah,
impressive.
the fan is hardly audible, and it manages thermals really well. No
Mm.
complaints from Zach there at all. Which, if you know Zach, to have no complaints, pretty awesome.
Zach can be critical, but only when he's darn right,
Yes.
and yeah, so absolutely, he doesn't mix words. If something doesn't hit the mark, he'll let you know. But it is a little pricey, so you have to really want this kind of device. You have to really want sort of the best of what the market has to offer. What about the display on this thing? We didn't touch that, and then we'll move on. It's an IPS display, bright enough.
Yeah.
Can you game outside?
Probably. So if you look at the hands-on video, Miriam's actually using it outside, and it's visible.
Yeah,
not awesome outside. It's like a 350 nits, but it's usable. Definitely better indoors, but totally usable. And what's great? Like these 7-inch full HD displays, the pixel density is so high, everything looks super crisp. The display looks great.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop a link in the chat. This is the hands-on video that Miriam put together for us, and we'll get that out there to everybody in case they want to hit that. And you dropped the review link in there, so thanks for that. Yeah, the ASUS ROG Xbox Ally X review, excellent, but evolutionary handheld PC gaming. Doesn't completely reinvent the vertical, but a nice refinement, right? We'll look forward to what's coming next.
I think we're a generation away from really awesome ones, though. Next gen with Panther Lake and next gen AMD, I think these devices are going to really come into their own.
Cool. I'm grabbing equipment here as you're talking. So, all right, but let's shift gears to something that the developer community, the AI developer community, probably be pretty interested in, and that's I'll add that to the stage right now. NVIDIA's DGX Spark, a tiny personal cloud for AI developers on your desktop. So, hey, this is a device that made a big splash. Geez, was it Computex?
No, CES. It was almost a year ago. It was CES.
Yeah, I don't know if he. Yeah, all right. I was trying to think if it was
CES.
Computex last
it was
year.
called. Well, it was Project Digits was revealed at CES.
Yes,
and then it was named officially named DGX Spark at GTC a few months later.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that chronology. That's important. I was trying to pull that out of my brain, but it was announced a while ago was the point, and folks were getting kind of antsy for it, obviously, and giving NVIDIA a hard time, like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Well, here it is, and the fabulous. I'm trying to get it optimized on the screen here without screwing things up. The fabulous Ben Funk took this for a spin. He is one of our top guys here at Hot Hardware. He is a full developer by day, does some work with us on the side, and a great member of the team. Fabulous Ben Funk. He's got it hooked up to a display there, but let's go over the specs. Grace Blackwell GB10. NVIDIA Blackwell architecture, 6,144 CUDA cores. So essentially RTX 5070 GPU firepower, combined with unified memory is the key. We'll talk about that. 20-core ARM Cortex, 20-core ARM CPU with 10 Cortex X925s plus 10 Cortex A725 cores. 128 gigs of LPDDR5X memory over 256 bit bus, and 273 gigabytes a second of memory bandwidth. That is a unified memory architecture. So thus you can accommodate large language models from all over. I'm not sure how many billion parameters. Maybe you know that off the top of your head. And it costs $3,000, but it's a little pint-sized powerhouse.
Yeah, it's a really, really extremely cool device. So I wish I had Ben's development chops and his software know-how, because I would love to play with a device like this. But this little device is essentially more powerful than the first DGX1 like supercomputer that NVIDIA launched. I want to say 2016. I don't remember
Yeah,
the exact year,
it's crazy.
but
Yeah,
AI is everywhere. AI is booming. You have virtually everyone trying to figure out at this moment how to incorporate AI into their workflow, including small medium business. And you need to do development. And if you don't want to develop in the cloud and you want to have something local for security reasons, what have you, this is it, right? You have this 128 meg unified memory architecture. And for those unaware, like that memory capacity is super important because let's say a discrete GPU with 16 gigs, there's only a model of a certain size that's going to fit in that 16 gigs. Now, you may not have the compute resources on this little tiny device of a beefier discrete GPU, but it's able to at least run larger models because the memory is dynamically allocated, and you can have essentially that full 128 gigs dedicated. I think it'll go to technically 124 gigs because the Linux OS needs a little something to keep running. But that's awesome. So in Ben's testing, I'm forgetting how large of a model he went up to. Let me just double check. But he compared it to a Mac Studio, which has, I believe his config had 36 gigs of RAM. And the Studio, while it has more memory bandwidth and it's a larger chip using more power, it doesn't have the memory capacity to run some models. So let me just jump to the graphs. Give me 1 second because I don't want to say the wrong thing. So with Gemma 27 billion, you see the Mac Studio was out ahead. But once you get to DeepSeek R1, a 32 billion parameter model, or DeepSeek R1 70 billion, you can't even run it on the lower memory capacity device.
Yeah.
And that's really the key here, right? So it may not have the memory bandwidth or raw compute of bigger, more powerful chips, but you can take a 70 billion parameter model and run it and have it be usable and do your development on this little tiny box that you essentially just remote into. You could set it up as a workstation if you want, but with NVIDIA's connector, the ideal situation is you have your powerful workstation, you just run NVIDIA software where you remote right into this thing, do your development on there. It's just a really cool setup, and I have a feeling it's going to be extremely popular.
Yeah. Looking at it here, as you mentioned, here's the Gemma model, and you do see the Mac ahead significantly. But these are smaller language models for sure versus DeepSeek, and certainly whether they be the 32 billion or the 70 billion parameter model, which Mac just wouldn't run. But there you can see the performance of it. It's a pretty disruptive platform, I think is the word, for AI developers in general. It is it's something we haven't really had the tools for on the desktop. You had to run these kinds of models in the cloud. And the AI landscape is evolving so dramatically now that you need new tools to do this work. So now you're talking about quantizing an AI model in your office, maybe your home office, as that setup you saw on the previous screen shows in Ben's home office. So that's powerful stuff. Let's talk about connectivity. This thing has 4 USB 3.2 ports and then a 10 gig RJ45 jack. But I've heard there are other, well, I haven't heard, I've seen them. HP and actually Dell have similar boxes. They're based on GB10 as well, same platform as DGX Spark. I always get the acronym wrong. SQFP connectors, the full, what is it, 800 gigs a second,
I think
bandwidth.
It's 200. I think it's 200.
I have to get the port speed on it, but so NVIDIA went straight RJ45, 10 gig NIC. I think that's a little bit more common, but with the other connector, you can chain two together. Can you chain this as well with the RJ45? I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
you
yeah.
can.
It's not with the
You can.
RJ45, but this has the NVLink connector on there to link to it.
Oh, it does have the NVLink connector.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's powerful too. If you wanna chain two together, you get an even larger model in the mix and have two chewing on it. Two's the limit, though, right?
Choose the
Yeah.
limit. Yes. Yep.
Gotcha.
And what's really wild though, right? Is Ben actually tested quantizing a model, and the thing was only pulling 76 watts from the wall. And if you're doing something that's like taxing the whole rig, it's like 148 watts, something like that. Like that's wild, right? How far it's in less than a decade, right? In 76 watts, this thing's doing what the DGX1 was doing. That's wild. That's insane. And I know like it is the Wild West right now. We're still AI is still in its infancy, and things are still changing rapidly. But you still gotta appreciate that, right?
Yeah.
This thing is quantizing models with less power than our light bulbs used to use. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And in 15 minutes, he said a Hugging Face formatted model that can be loaded on even a small 8 gig GPU without even breaking a sweat. So he quantized that model down so that it could be run on a much more meager, power efficient machine. And so just impressive stuff. I think NVIDIA is going to sell a few of these for sure. This is the max when you're really pushing it to do inferencing, right? When it's loaded up full tilt, it's 148 watts, which is still like what? I don't know, like a gaming notebook kind of, maybe less than that actually.
Yeah, like it's nothing. So figure, if you had a system with a 65 watt CPU and a discrete GPU that didn't even require power. I'm talking like a slot powered GPU. That's the that's the ballpark we're in.
Yeah. And then, thermals, he was reading 44C is the hottest point off the back of the unit. So this thing's running pretty cool, and it's quiet. It's under 40 dB under load. So you're not
hearing.
Look
How close the meter is. Yeah. And look how close
I know.
It's
like, it's like 6 inches away. So, I mean, that's a quiet little cool desktop PC or I should say workstation, really AI workstation that, that you can do some serious development work with. And I'm sure Ben, who does in fact development work, is digging it. And it's running basically an optimized version of Ubuntu with NVIDIA's libraries installed. It's a fully packaged, pre-built OS image from NVIDIA, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So good stuff. DGX Spark. Anything else before we close up for the show here, buddy?
No, but as usual, like we're not going to cover all of the intricacies of the written article here. So please come by the site, check it out. Give Ben some props. Both Ben and Zach, the two reviews we featured here, are two of the best, and they attack things from different angles that not everybody would think of. So good stuff. Please check out the full articles on the site. Yeah,
I'll drop a link in the chat. There it is, sitting on Ben's desk. It's $3,999 for the kit. Comes with 128 gig of LPDDR5X memory and a 4 terabyte drive with 10 gig Ethernet. It's dialed up. It's a little box, but it's got some pretty premium components on site, in addition to, of course, GB10 Grace Blackwell chip from NVIDIA. Man, you're seeing this surge of bespoke silicon these days. Silicon, built and optimized for the application, seemingly happening left and right. That's what blows me away about devices like DGX Spark, like some of what we're seeing, even in like the RISC-V space, is that custom bespoke silicon solutions are like, I don't want to say it's easy. It's not. I mean, it's rocket science, let's face it. But it's like breaking sticks for companies these days. They're getting it done. and it's not just, oh, here, take an x86 and an x86 CPU and an accelerator anymore. It's let's put something highly tuned together, highly integrated, chiplet, whatever, and build something purpose built for the application, which just it's exciting, right?
Absolutely. And like if you again, we have to appreciate what we have today. But if you look at the trajectory of these unified architectures, there's really only the Mac M series chips, Strix Halo, and this that have this sort of PC-like architecture that's also got this unified memory architecture with much more memory bandwidth than typical systems have. So just extrapolate out a couple of generations. Like we're probably going to have these integrated systems with on a single package, much more powerful GPUs, more powerful CPU cores, and they're going to link out to faster memory over wider interfaces. Like it's just going to be some really powerful small machines in a few years. Like, let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're really hitting an inflection point to the point now where there's not a whole lot limiting us anymore. It seems like we're always power limited, we're always thermal limited, and that kind of stuff. But what we're able to do, as DGX Spark illustrates so well, in a few inches of desktop space, just blows me away. And every year we say this, we seem to be blown away by certain things every year, you and I, over the decades, as we talked about at the beginning of the stream, that got us to this 100,000 subscriber mark. Every year we seem to just go, wow, about something, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not, maybe not, blown away. Wow. But wow, this lately, it's been like kind of blown away a lot.
Yeah, I think folks that know us for a long time, like we've been in this so long, right? Dave and I are around since you had to run QEMM to optimize your extended memory to run Rebel Assault. So
you are
stuff
dating
today,
us, brother.
yeah, like stuff today is just so much easier. Like we've lost that cynicism because stuff today is so much better than it was, in the beginning, right? Things have evolved to be so much more user-friendly and so much more performant with so many more features that you have to appreciate where we came from to where we are.
So. Yeah, that is a good way to encapsulate it. We're set for amazing things. I think AI, as we've talked about, in previous casts, is set to revolutionize so many markets. There's going to be some good with some bad. We know that it's just part of the deal. Hopefully, man evolves enough to handle it. But when you think about you're snickering over there. Don't do that when I say that.
No. I have Sophie just walking next to me. I'm waiting for her to
Oh. Well, Sophie, let's have a Sophie appearance.
Yeah, she's making a pit stop. She just got off the bus.
Oh, okay. All right. So we always love to. Sophia is Marco's daughter, and occasionally she likes to pop into the office while we're on camera, and it's always a lovely cameo. We have no problem with that. At any rate, yeah, no. I'm excited about what AI can do. In areas like the life sciences, right? Like it's working on finding a cure for cancers. It's working on, global simulation for, environmental issues. It's working, and it doesn't rest, and it keeps chewing on the problems that, researchers and scientists and developers are feeding it. So it's cool stuff. I mean,
yeah,
you can't show up at a conference. You can't have a discussion on a live stream these days without saying AI. So it kind of gets old to hear AI all the time, but it's a big deal, obviously.
It really is. Like, and if we take things to like even a more practical level, this we're not there yet. But imagine having a personal agent that has read all your emails. Like, so I'm going to use myself as an example. If I had an agent that has literally digested every article I've ever written and has, processed all of my email communications, and the model is trained to essentially mimic me, Imagine being able to go, hey, write this, GeForce 6090 review in this voice. Here's my Excel doc, and have it ready to publish on this date. Like, talk about boosting productivity, right? That's going to happen at some point. So
now, having said that, you would go through what it.
Of course, you have to still have the human element, but imagine a model trained on your personal data, like literally your personal content that can write in your voice and has all of your, digital mannerisms. It's really going to help productivity, right? At some point. So,
yeah.
I'm nervous for the future because there will be some redundancies, but I'm also excited for the future because, you can then use your time for either more creative purposes or for different projects. If some of the more mundane stuff, you could just tell your agent to do it. So
well said. Well said. Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head. You can't take the human out of the equation, because you and I, coming up through the ranks here as writers, as technologists, and testing the product and the technology, you always have to have, your finger on the pulse, and your flair, if you will, in the narrative. And so that'll never go away. But get the grunt work done so you and I can be more productive and creative and hopefully more effective.
Absolutely. Oh, hey, hold on a second.
Is Soph in? Soph coming in?
Can you look at the camera and say, hey, 100K?
Hey, 100K.
Thanks, beauty. Can I have a kiss? I love you. I'll see you in a minute.
That was like barely a kiss. She was like, I'm done with this creepy stuff, Dad.
Oh, yeah. He just says Sophie likes her space.
Well, thanks for the well wishes, Soph. Good to see you. And thanks everybody for joining us. Marco, why don't you take us out? Because I always tee us up. Why don't you take us out?
You got it. So once again, thanks everybody for allowing us to achieve this milestone. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and comment and, help us boost that YouTube algorithm. Any engagement is good engagement. So we appreciate anything you can do for us. And as always, you must come by hothardware.com. We publish dozens of news stories every day, many featured articles over the course of the weeks and months. It's impossible to cover it all here. And of course, we are everywhere on social media. We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, virtually everywhere /Hot Hardware, you will find us. And with that, I just want to thank you for hanging out with us on this stream. And thanks for all the support over the years. We really cannot express how much we appreciate it.
26 years and counting. My God.
Oh my gosh. More than half my life.
When we started, the internet was stringing a tin cup.
When we started, I had hair and no grays.
My hair doesn't turn gray all that much except for the temples. It just falls out. So don't even get me going on that. But
that's why I don't turn my head. I don't turn my head on camera. We stay here.
Straight on, baby. Straight on.
That's it.
And no light from the top, just from the sides.
Exactly.
All right, folks. As Marco said, thanks so much for stopping by. We'll see you in the next one.